world, we're hitting first base. Marty Lurie with friends, home run. You know the ways and the trends, the stories all with the Mets on the block. It's Marty and friends.
All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network.
Smiles to the world, we're hitting.
And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in to NorCal Sports Network and Marty Lurie and Friends, a collab. It's first of its kind this year. We'll be doing more, but welcome, Marty.
Hey, it's great to be. Yeah, come on, man. It's great to be with you. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy New Year. We got a lot of action coming up. And, of course, Ruby Barmay, who sang my introductory song. She wrote it herself. She's beautiful. It. I love this song, and she happens to be my granddaughter, so that helps too. So, Ruby, another nice job this week.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, Marty, you are we're ending the year with hopefully the Giants are going to do something before the new year. But it's seems like we had something coming down about a week ago, and then as anything can happen with Scott Boras and his clients. So where do you think this thing ends with Corbin Burnes?
Well, obviously there are some teams in the mix for Corbin Burnes, and no one really wants to pay $300 million to him or $280 million. Look, he's a terrific pitcher. He's a Cy Young Award winner in 2021. The strikeout rate is down. The velocity is down. I think he's 31 right now. So if you're in for a long-term contract, it's going to be trouble. And with pitchers, their next pitch could be their last one. So there are teams out there that will string out these negotiations. Look, you got the Mets, Steve Cohen. They don't have they got Channing today, Griffin Channing. Come on,
right?
We're dealing here, and you got Montos in there as well. So the Mets are still alive. Cleveland needs pitching. I don't think they'd pay the money for Burnes. Toronto can't give enough money away. Nobody wants to go there. Of course, probably with the tariff now, people are afraid to go to Canada. Who knows what Trump's going to do with that? You got the Orioles, who just signed the Japanese pitcher, but they like their homegrown guys. You got Detroit, could be in the mix. See, and all these teams are in the mix. If the price goes down to like 3 years at $35 million a year or 3 years at $40 million a year, then all of a sudden Detroit with Skubal says, hey, Burnes, we can win a division. You got San Diego that's still fooling around in this thing. They're in the Sasaki mix. You don't know what's going to happen with him. You got the Dodgers, you got Seattle in that mix as well with Sasaki. Cincinnati all of a sudden needs pitching.
Yeah, and I came up with a new one last night, Marty.
Who's that?
Take a look at this. Look at the Chicago Cubs right there. They have at 180 on the CBT tax. Getting rid of Bellinger allowed them to drop quite a bit under. They were at 200 million.
Yeah. So
and who's the manager? Who's the manager of the Cubs?
My point is that with the price probably going down a little bit and the AAV probably going up a little bit, it puts a lot of other teams in there. So how do I feel about it? I think Burnes should be a Giant. I think he wants to be a Giant. He doesn't understand what it means to be a Giant. We're talking about one of the premier franchises in the National League, the history of the National League. I realize we're talking about things that happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or even 10 years ago. But these are the San Francisco, this are the Giants. Stop. Do you want to be a Blue Jay? Really? You want to be a Cincinnati Red? Or do you want to be known with Marichal and with Jason Schmidt and with Lincecum and with Kane and people like that? That's what the Giants are all about. And if Burnes wants to be a Giant, sign. Stop fooling around with this thing. And it's a question of money always. I understand that. But I'm sure there's enough money for him to do it. So I'd like to see him sign here. What it would do for the Giants, it gives them, of course, we know this, it gives them Webb to start, your favorite player, Logan Webb. He's not going to be traded. We know that.
I know that. Yeah, I know that.
And then,
hey, as long as they're trying to compete, Logan Webb is an excellent asset for the Giants. But if they're just, what I was thinking might be doing is screwing around.
Don't start trouble here trading Logan Webb. We don't want you to do that. No, but you get Webb, you get Burnes slotted into the 2 spot. You've got Robbie Ray. And the thing that I like about that rotation, you got some strikeout pitchers behind them. The game today, and I mentioned this to you the other day, Dan, the game is different today. Strikeout pitchers are very important because everybody strikes out. So Robbie Ray can get into all sorts of trouble, and he can strike people out. Snell did the same thing all the time. He had people all over the place, and he would strike people out. Harrison can strike people out. You've got Birdsong. He can strike people out. You've got some Hicks can strike people out. So the fact that Burnes, his strikeout rate may be down a little bit, I think he can still be an effective pitcher in that park. So if he wants to really be a Giant, sign and be a Giant. That's my point with him. If you don't want to be a Giant, it's cool. Go somewhere else. Spend the rest of your life looking like a Blue Jay. If that's what you want. But I think he should sign, and I think he should respect the fact that the Giant franchise is that special. So that's my rant tonight.
I'm wondering what that offer was. I'm guessing it was 7 years, maybe 8, that the Giants offered for Burnes. I mean, once Fried signed for 8 years, that pretty much made it a 7-year deal minimum, I would think.
Well, I'm not so sure he's getting that kind of play, because I think he'd sign already if he was he's not getting 10 years.
No.
And if you think he's getting 7 at 50 or 7.
I think it's more. I think it was probably around 35. I think it was probably 240-ish.
I don't think he's getting that kind of action. And I think that's why he hasn't signed. Look, everyone in baseball, they always say, change the deadline for free agents. Well, if you did that, you'd run up against a deadline, and then the owners would give you a low ball offer and you'd be done. So that's never going to change. I don't think he's getting 6 or 7 at that kind of money right now, because if he was, he'd make a decision. There's no reason not to. If the Giants are offering that kind of money to pitch in this park, in this National League, why not?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Hey, by the way, guys, make sure you subscribe to Marty's new channel, Marty Lurie and Friends. There's the link. Producer Ryan put that in the chat there.
Yeah.
So everybody who is watching via NorCal Sports Network, make sure you go on over there to Marty's channel and just click on that link. Actually, all you got to do, that's why Ryan put it in there. Click on the link and subscribe. And then if you are here from Marty's channel, make sure you come over to NorCal Sports Network and subscribe here. It's a joint effort here, guys. Are you hearing some background noise, Marty? I'm getting the feedback somewhere.
That must be Lou Marston, probably exploding. He's probably exploding because I said something good about the Giants. Lou, you got to understand, in the history of baseball, this is one of the premier franchises, and it gives him a chance to be part of that. Granted, they're probably the 4th best team in the division. However, you're still part of wearing the Giant uniform, and I think that's important. I thought Lou had exploded, but that
we might have to bring Lou in here.
I let Lou in. I think Lou follows me on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
I think he does, but
Yeah, Lou's one of the co-hosts here at NorCal, and he's a season ticket holder. Has been a season ticket holder in the family all the way back to the New York Giants, and they are right in the front row, right next to the Giants dugout on the
Bucher,
left
right?
field side of the dugout.
Yeah, I think he's in the 45th row in the third deck, along with Bob Euchre. All right. Hey, let's talk Willie Adames a little bit.
Sure.
Talk about Willie Adames. How do you feel about Willie?
I love the move. I thought it was the move that had to be made for the Giants this season. The shortstop is a critical position. It is the centerpiece of really your ball club. You could say he's the leader definitely of the infield, but you can argue that he's the leader of the team. I mean, sometimes that goes to the center fielder, but the shortstop is such an important position. And the Giants really haven't had a shortstop since, they tried out, looked like they were going to go with Luciano. And then they went with the, drawing a blank, the kid from, who did we bring in last year that played for Arizona, and he the shortstop, the defensive,
I know who you're
Nick Ahmed. There it is. Yeah. They went with Nick Ahmed. Well, that didn't work. Then they went with kind of Schmidt and then Fitzgerald, and none of them were really, except Ahmed was a true shortstop, but he couldn't hit. Now you bring in a guy that is a really good defender and drove in 112 runs last year, hit 33 homers. So he's a middle of the order lineup, and he's a guy that I think will definitely produce for the team. And not only is he a great ball player, but he has a real winning attitude. Nice to see a guy who actually came to the Giants and says he wants to be here.
Yeah. And look, he was the best shortstop on the market. Are you getting feedback at all?
I am. I got a ding in there. I don't know what that was. I got a ding in
that was my phone.
Oh, okay. And then there was, is there a radio on or something in the, maybe a little feedback going?
Not here, but all right, let's talk. You talk and I'm going to fool around with it and see if I can. But Adames, good defender, not a great defender, never been an all-star, but he is a guy who wants to play ball. He plays 161 games. They need that. They need a guy who shows up to play ball. And I think that's what they got out of him. He's a home run threat, too. He's finally got some MVP votes this year, first time. So I think it's important that they have him. And look, they overpaid for him, no question. No one else was probably going to pay him that much. But he's a very, very big part of the whole winter. So I like it. I like it. The Burnes thing could make it really good if Burnes signs with the Giants. A lot of people compare him to Aaron Nola. He's going to give you innings. He may get knocked around a little bit because the strikeout rate is down a little bit more. But he's going to give you his innings, and he wants the baseball. And that's a guy you like. So we'll see what they go with that. The other one is Kim. By getting Adames, what about Kim? Well, Kim has still got that's my phone. Kim has still got the bad shoulder, but you could sign him now. You don't have to put him at short. You could put him at second. I worry about Fitzgerald at second base.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
About him, two things. One, just defensively, and two, offensively. For Fitzgerald, and I took a note of this. I think his last 30 games, he hit like 232 with one homer and 112 at bats, something like that. Something that you got to worry a little bit about how he fits in. If his shoulder's not capable of playing short, put him at second. You can do that. And I like that. The other one is Bregman. Bregman's another guy. His on-base percentage has gone down, down, down. He's still a tough ball player. And you could probably get him at a reasonable price. I know he wanted $300 million and all this kind of stuff, which I don't think he'll ever get. But if he's hanging around at the end of the market and you can pick him up for a year, see, the key now when you get to this end of the market is to try to get the 1 or 2 year guy,
right,
who can fit in to what you're doing. So Bregman is someone, just keep him on your radar. Put him at second base, Chapman at short, Adames there. Then first base becomes the issue. And we're concentrating a lot on Burnes, but Arenado today turned down a trade to Houston. We've talked about this on the show, you and I, of Arenado may becoming a first baseman. Why can't he be a first baseman here? You know, the price would be right. Goldschmidt is another one. Christian Walker thought was going to go to the Yankees, but they got Bellinger now. But you could put Bellinger in center, put Walker at first for the Yankees. That can happen. Someone mentioned Rizzo to me today, that he would be out there. I think he's finished. But there's a lot of players out there who you can now pick up for that 1 or 2 year deal and fit a spot that the Giants need, which would be first base.
Yeah, first base is going to be interesting because they definitely are in the market. To me, it appears they want to get a first base. I don't know. Listening to Melvin, though, and Buster wants to cut down on strikeouts. I ran through the entire roster recently. In fact, I did a little video on the Giants' potential starting lineup, and they all have high K rates over 24, 25%. Fitzgerald was in 31, 32. And the only one that had a K rate that was low was Jung-Hoo Lee, about 8%, but Wilmer Flores was at 13.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Matos hits the ball. He doesn't strike out a lot. So I don't know what they're going to do. And I know that I had Bobby Evans on last night, and he talked about the need for players to change their approach. It's something that Buster is emphasizing, that, hey, with 2 strikes, you got to figure a way to make contact. You can't. That's the thing that has always struck me, Marty, this philosophy with 2 strikes. Well, just wait for your pitch. If it isn't your pitch, just, take it for a called strike 3. It just, I don't understand the mindset of that, because you sometimes situational baseball, you got a man on third base with less than 2 out and it's a tight game. Why are you taking a called strike 3? You need to put the ball in play. But we'll see what happens. I think the one guy that I think we are overlooking a lot, and I know a lot of people say, well, it's because, he's kind of a friend of yours and you've had him on the show, but I really do like Casey Schmidt's glove. And I love the fact that he's really an outstanding defensive infielder. Just hasn't had time to give him time to hit. I spoke with him recently. He said it's very difficult to come up from Sacramento, get into a game or 2 a week, get his timing, then go back to Sacramento. It takes him 2 weeks to get his timing, starts hitting well again. They see him, bring him back up, and then he's up and down. And it's like you can't get any into a rhythm when you're not playing baseball on a daily. It's a day-to-day game. It's not a once-a-week game.
Well, the only thing he's done really is his last 15 games or so, he hit the ball hard for the first time, other than when he first came up. He's a good, valuable guy to have around. As far as Fitzgerald is concerned, I like Fitzgerald. I was the one last September, a year ago, who said this guy can play.
Yeah, I like him too.
And he can DH, he can play the outfield, he can play all over the place, but I'm not sure you want to just turn second base over to him. So I like.
What do you think of a Chris Taylor type role for Tyler Fitzgerald?
Yeah, Fitzgerald, you want that speed on the team. And he's got some power, but they caught up with him. And again, I always say, don't fall in love in March or September. So we'll throw September away. He didn't, they caught up with him. But I still like him. I think he's one of the assets of the team. Let's talk a little bit more about first base. I think they've got to do something at first base. Santana is not for me. I think people are dreaming if you think you're going to get anything out of Santana. You're looking probably maybe at Goldschmidt, who's at the end of his career, but he is a decent defender and he can run into some here and there. He can even hit second in the lineup if you needed him, if you want to move Adames down to the 3 spot. The other one is Teoscar Hernandez, and I still like him. I like Hernandez. I know he's probably going to end up with the Dodgers, but boy, if you could get Hernandez, put him in left, put Ramos in right, and have Lee in center, I like that. They need some power. They need some hitting. Don't try to catch the Dodgers. Just try to get involved with the rest of the league here. And I think their pitching is pretty good. I really do. I think that the starters that we named, we didn't even name Tristan Beck. He's in the middle of that too. Mason Black had a couple of good games there at the end. They've got pitching. They really do. If they got Burnes, it would be terrific. It would push some of these other kids back, or maybe you could trade them because you wouldn't need all of them. But they do have some pitching in the bullpen. They've got stuff on the bullpen side too. The problem is, I think, defensively, getting a real solid defense, which Adames now gives you that plus, and it gives you Chapman at third. Let's see what they do at second, and get a guy like a Goldschmidt at first. If you could get Arenado, if he wanted to come to San Francisco, he may want to stay in Southern California, even though he's tormented the Giants forever. You could put him at first if you wanted to do that. But for me, Posey's got to do certain things. He's got to build from this farm system. And we don't know much about the farm system other than 2 or 3 guys they added to the 40-man, and Ragsdale and a couple other names that I couldn't even tell you who they are. You have to be able to trade. You have to make trades. The one thing A.J. Preller did at San Diego, and they did it with the Dodgers, Arizona's going to do it with Montgomery. I'll guarantee you he's going to get traded. You got to make a trade, an impact trade. And as much as Posey wants to look you in the eye, and I want ball players who want to play 162, and I want this and that, you've got to be prepared to make a trade and give up something to get something. And then you got to sign free agents. He's trying to do it. And I assume Burnes is his target right now. I wouldn't overlook him, though, as I said, to have him hang around. And you want to create some buzz about the team. And Adames did that. And if Burnes comes here, you got a little bit of buzz going. The Soto signing for me was very troubling for Giant fans because it made the Mets the Dodgers of the East.
Right.
Now you got to deal with the Mets. You got to deal with the Phillies. You got to deal with Atlanta.
Yep.
Washington is getting better.
Yep.
Have to deal with something in the Central. Maybe the Cubs or St. Louis. St. Louis is rebuilding. You still got the Brewers to deal with. Then you finally get to the West. You got to deal with those 3. So it gave another team for the Giants to have to deal with. So I would prefer to see Soto in the American League.
Right. I'll tell you, Marty, I look at this team and I like to consider myself, the one thing I don't want to be is a homer, and I don't want to be a hater. So I don't want to be one of the H's. I want to be a R. I want to be a realist. And that's what I try to do on NorCal Sports Network, is be a realist, not a hater.
What do you think?
Not a homer. I think this Giants team has a difficult task ahead of them because as I look at the everyday lineup, the players, and if I hear Bob Melvin talking about it, the type of guys they have, but I look at them and they don't seem, when I watch the rest of baseball, a lot of their players are not what I would call major league, real big league hitters. They're going to be occasional hitters.
You got complementary players and you got carriers. They need carriers.
Yeah, they don't have any carriers. They don't have any aircraft carriers. There you go.
Can Adames be a carrier? That's the question. On a good team, he probably can. He can help. He can be a very good complementary
You need
player.
more pieces. See, I like Chapman as a ball player, but he's not a carrier.
Let's talk Alonso here, Dan, because the Mets are fooling around with Alonso. Alonso's market is not going to be 5 years at $300 million. It's not going to happen. He's probably a 2-year guy, maybe at 100 total. I would love to see Alonso in this ballpark. I think Alonso makes sense for the Giants. And if the Mets don't want him, they've got guys they can move Vientos over to first base. They've got Beatty. They've got Acuna's brother. They got people all over the place. Alonso doesn't have to be a Met. If the Giants came in now and made an offer to Alonso and they could get Alonso right now, I would do it right now and forget Goldschmidt and Walker and all the rest of them. Alonso in this park, media buzz, can reach the seats.
Great for the media, great for the seats. But
he wants
the one thing I look at this, the way I think the makeup of a roster is as important as the names themselves, because Pete Alonso on a team that gets on base a lot, I like. But Pete Alonso added to Chapman, Adamos, Ramos, Yastrzemski, Fitzgerald that all strike out way too much. Who's going to be on base?
Well, you've got Chapman, you've got Adames, you've got Fitzgerald, or maybe someone else at second. Bailey behind the plate. You got Lee. You hope he's going to get on. Ramos should be able to do some damage. And right field, I would love to see Yastrzemski's going to be 35. It's time. But you got to get something that's better. That's where that Teoscar Hernandez comes in for me, or the trade happens. Look, the Cubs gave up their big pick, Cam Smith and Paredes and another pitcher to get Kyle Tucker. Make a deal like that. That's okay. Make a deal like that. But you put Alonso in this park and you flip that lineup. Let's say you got Lee leading off and you've got Adames hitting second, and then you have Alonso third or fourth. You're going to want to sit down and watch that inning.
Yeah, I think Alonso is a nice piece, but I don't know if they want to sign him for a few years and block.
You don't have
Eldridge.
Well, Bryce Eldridge hasn't seen the big leagues yet. Okay,
right. And he may make it, he may not, but I don't think. I think his path is sometime next year.
Yeah, he may be the next McCovey, but until he does that, you got to play now.
True. I'm all for adding guys.
They've got some pitching here. They can play. They've got to score runs, and that's the whole thing. Now you go for Casey Schmidt. Maybe you're right on that. Maybe Casey Schmidt should play second and give him 400 at bats and see what he can do.
I think the infield would be dynamic because he has range. He has a great arm, which you need to turn that double play at times when we saw a lot in the playoffs. If you watch the playoffs, the key of guys with strong arms being able to get that throw to first quickly. And I like that move. See, what I would do with Fitzgerald is I would use him. And I know there's a truth to the fact that a guy may hit better if he's got an everyday position he could just play and focus on. I get that. But you have to look at the team aspect. This isn't a team of any stars, really. Like you say, carriers. Why not move Fitzgerald around and let him play second one day? Let him play short. Let him play third, left field, center field, right field.
On that, I like it. I like having it in there. Santander is another one. He's a little older, not a great on base percentage. Yeah, the year of his life. Brady Anderson 2.0. I mean, the guy hit so many home runs.
44.
Put him
it's amazing. They always happen right in a contract year, Marty. I wonder why.
If you can get these people at this stage of the market, which it's going to happen over this next few weeks, because spring training's right around the corner. I mean, believe me, it's not that far away. if you can get them at the 2-year deal at a good average annual salary, whatever it is, take a shot at a guy like that. I'll give you another one. What about Profar off the bench?
Yeah, Profar. I think he'd be
paying Profar, $200 million.
No,
Profar,
he's
if he gets a 2-year, 35 or 40 million.
right.
contract. But Profar's a nice player to bring off the bench.
He is. I don't think he's a bench player. I think he's a starter.
Well, who would you rather bring off the bench? Brett Wisely, or Profar? I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, but I don't. I think on this team, if you sign Profar, he's going to start. I mean,
yeah, all right. So you put him in left field, and you put Ramos over in right. You make the deal for Yastrzemski. I disagree with Lou. Lou says nobody wants the Giant pitchers. I disagree with that. I think the Giant pitchers have some potential here. And then, look, you could always move Duvall.
right.
The point is, you have to do something because to close the gap on the Dodgers and all the teams that I just named. You got to do it with pitching and defense, and they're starting to get that way. But you got to close that gap offensively. We saw it in all the playoff games. When you flip that lineup, look, Lee was gone after May. We still don't know Lee yet as a major league hitter. It looks good. It looked like he was starting to come around, but we still don't know yet. But when you flip that lineup, when you get to that 3 or 4 spot, you don't want to be looking at Wilmer Flores.
There you go through.
You don't. And that's up to Posey. They got to make some things happen. So maybe they're waiting on Burnes. And I'll say it again. If you want to be a Giant, sign and figure it out. Or if you want to spend the rest of your life as a Cincinnati Red or a Pittsburgh Pirate, then be my guest. But you could be with a premier franchise in the National League. Not doing great right now, but the ballpark, the fan base, and you can have a nice end of your career in this ballpark. So get it done.
Yeah. I think one guy that might have a bounce back year, I've been thinking about this a little bit more. Kyle Harrison didn't look too great, but he was injured. He was kind of dealing with a little bit of an injury. If he's going to now have his second full season, got a little taste in the 23 season, he's going to be coming back as a different type of pitcher, I think. And if Harrison could get a little bit of control of, get his command down and get that off-speed pitch over, he could be a surprise pitcher this year. Remember, he's 2 years away from being the minor league pitcher, the top pitcher in the minor league. So, I mean, he's one guy I think it's easy to look at a guy after a year or two, and baseball fans are really fickle. They look at players and they go, he doesn't have it. They said the same thing about Matt Williams. The first 2-3 years, Matt Williams couldn't hit he couldn't hit a curveball to save his life. He was batting 200 after 700 at bats in his 4th year, which is really, you think about it, his 4th year is the equivalent of his 2nd year because he had a mix of at bats. He had 700 at bats, so that's a little over 1 year.
So
he hits 30 plus homers.
I know, but now they bring guys up at 20 or 19, 20, and they do struggle for a while, and it's okay as they grow up. But you expect more from the 19 or 20-year-old because we see those that do it. So when a 19 or 20 or 21-year-old struggles, we think, well, they stink. They'll never make it. But that's not the way baseball works. I think for Harrison, he has to just grow up a little more, get some success, and get command of whatever he's throwing. And Art Howe taught me this years ago. Control means if I want to throw a strike, I can throw him down the middle. Command means I want to hit that Yankee hat in your upper left-hand corner. I want to hit your hat in the middle of your screen. That's command. And you got to get command to be an effective major league pitcher. I think Harrison can do it. I think Birdsong has got great stuff. these are young players. Give them some time. I think Beck showed something, and I think Hicks is still very capable. And again, Robbie Ray's the guy who's going to give you 5 or 6 innings. He's going to get in trouble. He'll drive you nuts, but he'll strike people out and get out of trouble. And
what do you think of that comment there?
Trade for Naylor. We need a lefty bat who can play first while Eldridge is working on his game. He could, he's a legitimate hitter.
He's only like 27, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, the one thing, Cleveland can't hit. They just got rid of the shortstop, the second baseman, Jimenez, who can't hit a lick. They got rid of him, and they'll try anybody at second base now. But Naylor, come on, he's a legitimate hitter. I love him. Him and Ramirez were terrific for Cleveland in there. So we'll see where it all goes. But Flaherty, we haven't talked about him. Would you want Flaherty behind Webb? To give you innings.
I think Flaherty is a similar pitcher statistically. When I put up the numbers between Jack Flaherty and Logan Webb, they're actually similar numbers over their career. And I actually think he might be the guy that you can get for maybe 4 years for $100 million, 25 a year. Yeah. I think he would fit. I also wouldn't mind taking a flyer on a 1-year deal with Walker Buehler. He looks like he started to find the old Walker Buehler in the playoffs.
Stop, Dan. Stop.
I don't know.
He had 3 good games out of 30.
All when it counted.
I know, but he's a veteran. But is he back? Is that the guy you want to put your money in? He's had
on a 1-year deal. I don't know if it's too bad on a 1-year deal.
All I can talk about, but anything more than that, I think you're asking for trouble. But
I wouldn't go over a year.
No, he's on the list. He's on the list. I'll give you another guy that someone brought up the other day, Kepler. Max Kepler, left-handed hitter, right fielder, Twins, outfielder, play all the positions. Had some hip and knee injuries. Good on base percentage guy. He's available. That's a guy I could go for. He's a major league hitter, and he's coming back from an injury, which we've done that before. But I like that name. Sasaki is the one. Let him go to the Dodgers. Who cares? So the Dodgers will win 130 games instead of 115. We're not chasing the Dodgers, okay? The Giants are chasing everybody else. And everybody else is reachable.
Yes.
Wherever Sasaki goes, let him go. It's like Soto going to the Mets. All right, so he's on the Mets. Put Sasaki on the Dodgers, and now they win more easily. But put Sasaki on the Padres, and now you got trouble.
Yeah, real trouble. Yeah, real trouble. That's a great point. What do you like here? These are 2 pitchers. Their career numbers. We look at the WAR. We see a little bit more there on the left. Innings pitched. They're pretty similar. You look at the win-loss, the ERA, all pretty close.
Okay.
And I think the one on the left is probably, less games started, but more innings. I like that. And overall, but similar statistics, wouldn't you say?
I would think so. I think it looks good.
And that's what you're looking at right there.
Yeah. Well, Flaherty has been hurt, and he was awful. He couldn't throw strikes. A lot of his good numbers came at a different time. The Dodgers were lucky to get away with him in the playoffs, to tell you the truth. He was all over the place. So, but as a past, he has got some value because he's been there before, and he's a pitcher. He's smart, and he's got good stuff. Yeah, that wouldn't be impossible for me. I can work with it. Michi says Kepler is another Conforto. I think he's better than Conforto. I think he can move. I think at this stage of his career, there's more of an upside than Conforto. So
What do you think of this one right here? Oh, Marty, or that one's going. Okay, thoughts on Manaya's reclamation year?
Yeah, yeah. I think he liked pitching in New York, which is not simple to do. There are a lot of pitchers who got run out of baseball after pitching in New York. He didn't. I don't think the Giants would touch him. I don't think, they're not looking for a 3+. That's what he really is. He's gone after 5 innings, giving up 4 hits, but he's out. That's not what they want.
Yeah.
I like him, but he's not for the Giants. He's better off going back to the Mets and staying there.
Yeah. Haesung Kim, I did a little video on him. I like Haesung Kim, the kid from Korea. I think he's a base stealer. Looks like a guy that doesn't strike out a ton. Might be a kind of a fit for second base, but he's young. He's Jung-Hoo Lee's age. I'd like to see them personally give some of the guys that they've brought in and developed drafted. Again, I bring back Casey Schmidt.
I know
you either got to play the kid or trade him.
You're the Casey Schmidt agent. It's okay. We
Yeah.
know you like Schmidt. This kid, this Kim, is a slap hitter with some speed.
Yep, I like him.
And the guy that Durbin,
He'd fit good. I think he'd fit good in the park because he hits the ball to all fields.
if he can hit, or they knock the bat out of his hand like a wet newspaper, it's trouble. So you don't know if a kid like that'll hit. Williams was traded from the Brewers to the Yankees. Great trade.
Right. Yeah.
Trade. And
What's your thoughts on Luciano?
well, he's got to play somewhere. Just put him in the outfield, make him a DH, and let the bat play. At some point, it's like Ramos. Let the bat play. Let the bat speak for itself. And I think that's what's happening. That'll happen with Luciano.
Yeah.
But
the surprised
Brewers,
go ahead.
Durbin is another speed guy. He's like Terang. And that's all of a sudden that identity. Giants need some speed too. It wouldn't bother me to get a second baseman. That's where Fitzgerald comes in. But to get a second baseman with some speed, or get another outfielder with some speed.
Well, see, Milwaukee seems to have a philosophy that they're looking at, and they're implementing the philosophy to what they want to. I'm getting a ton of feedback. I don't know what that's coming from.
Well, nothing's on my side.
It's only when I talk. I don't know what's going on. Huh. Is anybody else picking it up? Nobody's mentioned it in the chat. But if I feel like I got a police radio in my ear.
Really?
It's just picking up all kinds of noise.
I've got nothing.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Maybe it's the StreamYard. It's I'm just getting a bunch of. But anyway, I'll just talk through it. The Brewers seem to have what I would call a philosophy. And I think when you craft a club together, you have to have a nucleus of guys that are low strikeout guys that get on base, and then you live with your home run hitters striking out a lot. That's just comes with the territory. And if you happen to get some stars that don't strike out a lot, like Freeman and Betts, and they still hit home runs, well, now you're looking at superstars. And as you said, the Giants don't have any carriers or stars. So to me, they got to find guys that do the little things right. And I don't know if they have that yet. They look like a bunch of guys that are all the same mold. Chapman and Adames, to me, pretty similar. A lot of strikeouts, hard players. They show up.
They should have gotten in the mix for Kyle Tucker.
I wish they would have traded for Tucker. I thought he would have been the perfect fit.
The agent after this year, go after a guy like that. I mean, he's a legitimate superstar in baseball. This year is a learning year. It's a year where the young pitchers hopefully will get better. Ramos, Lee, Bailey. You'll have someone at second base. It's a year for the Giants to get better. It is. And that's the thing. Burnes makes them better. Burnes as a starter makes them better. He's not going to be. This is not bringing in Marichal. It's not bringing in Lincecum, but he's a smart pitcher, and I think he helps Logan Webb a lot. So they can pitch. It's just getting the offense going is what you're talking about, and I agree with you. Lou wants to know, where is Lou? Lou wants to know what I think about bringing back Yastrzemski. I don't like it. He could be a fifth outfielder maybe, but he pops the ball up constantly. He got hot a little bit at the end of September. He plays right field very well. It's a short right field. Don't forget there. This is not a long right field. The wall is very close. He plays it well, but he's now expendable. And I want a new right fielder.
Yes, I agree. And Will, I agree with you. Adames is a much different hitter with runners in scoring position. All you got to do is look at the RBIs, 112 to Chapman's like 78. If you look at Chapman's overall career, he's had RBI one time in his whole career over 80. It was 2019. He drove in 91. Hasn't even touched 80 the rest of his career. And for a guy that hits in the middle of the order, I'm sorry, that's not enough. In my opinion, Matt Chapman's much more valuable 6th or 7th in the order, not in the top 5.
Yeah, I agree. 6th would be ideal. 5th if you have to do it. He's a tough out, but he strikes out a lot. But he's a streak hitter, and right. I have no complaints with him. I really don't.
I think he's an excellent guy to have on the team. He plays every day, plays hard. He's a leader. He shows up. You need guys like that. I don't care what team you got, but you need guys like that.
He's a fabulous third baseman.
Yeah, I'm going to sign out and sign right back in. There's a bad something, and I don't know if it's.
All right. Well, Dan is going to sign in. All right. Now, I got the show myself. Marty Lurie and Friends Talking Baseball. We have a few people who have emailed me, martylurie@yahoo.com, because when I do the show without Dan, we want to do some segments with the fans. Like Lou, if you want to be on, we'd love to have you on. But send me an email, martylurie@yahoo.com, and let me know you want to be on the show, and we'll try to figure out a segment. I like people to subscribe. It makes me feel better, right, Dan? You like subscriptions. It's good. So we want that.
Especially, you know what I like, Marty, better than subscriptions?
Money.
Well, I like money, but I like real subscriptions, like authentic subscriptions, not bought subscriptions. A lot of people buy subscriptions on YouTube channels. I'm not for buying subscriptions. You see channels that grow 200-300 in a couple days like that. Not good.
All right. Encarnacion. I thought poor Rico Cardi died over the winter. You remind me of Rico Cardi, just a big slugger. So yeah, he's in the mix to see what he can do. I like the way he swings the bat. The other thing on Adames, he doesn't get cheated. Feedback is still there.
Yeah, it's my mic. I'll just keep it down a little bit, let you talk more.
Well, I see you wearing earplugs. Does that have anything to do with it?
Could be because we're doing this dual stream.
All right. Well, we'll do better next time. But it's fun to do it. I like to do it. I like to have sharing the channels with you. So my goal is to do this during the season. Now you're on constantly and you're breaking news, and it's wonderful. For me, I'd like to be on like every Wednesday night. It's something like 5:00, pregame or something like that, or if they're in the East Coast, maybe later, what have you. But do it like once a week, and then of course have my show KNBR on the weekend. But I'd like to be able to do this with a couple of guests and some fans during the week, and that's my goal. So I'll do some more maybe next week, or hey, January is, come on, man, it's right around the corner here. So we're going to be doing a lot more, but that's my goal, to do this. And this way I could talk about baseball. And I talk this way anyway on the show that I do. So we just sort of bring it to the airwaves this way. Even with Bruce Jenkins and Ron Wotus and Mark Simon and people like that, they can be on this with us. And I think it'd be fabulous to do it. And plus having you and Larry and Damon out there, I like doing this. It's fun.
Absolutely. Try this. Try muting your mic while I talk. See if that does it. Because this might be. Is your mic muted now? Okay, so Marty's muted. Yeah, that's what it is. I think our mics are crossing somehow. So when I talk, just Marty can mute, but we'll bring Marty back in here.
Okay. Is it garbled now?
Only when hello? Now it's not, no, now it's working. Now I think it's good. I'm not getting the feedback anymore. Are you muted? I don't
No.
Okay. So I think it's problem solved. Oh, Ryan fixed the audio settings. Okay, there we go.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging in there.
Sorry about that, guys. This is the first time we've actually done the co-streaming. We're live on both channels. So everybody who is in NorCal Sports Network may have not known that Marty has his own YouTube channel, as he just talked about. Make sure you go over there, and producer Ryan maybe put the link right back in there again for some of the people who've come in late. Subscribe to Marty's channel. He was at 777 before we started. Let's see if we can get him closer to 1,000. These will be real subs, though. People who are not bot subs. These aren't bot subs. These are subs that would be actually people going over and subscribing. So,
all right,
as we did with Cody with Even Your Dynasty show, he was on the show one night and he pumped up over 100 subs in one show. So
once we get on regularly, it'll be cool. McRae, someone wants to know about McRae. Look, the guy can fly. He's got legitimate power, but he's got to put the bat on the ball. I mean, he's just a little bit too much of a strikeout guy now. But I love the power. I love the speed. And, I want him around. Now, could you trade him? He's movable for me. And he's got those skills that he could attract another team that has some patience that could use him. So, I like that. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think McRae would be he's a guy that has the talent. He's got to, again, cut way down on the strikeouts. But if he changes his approach and is a guy that cuts way down on the strikeouts and just gets on base, he could be electric.
Yeah. The other one, hey, don't forget this guy is Matos.
Yes.
Don't forget Matos. Matos, here's the question, Lou. You keep asking about Yaz. Who would you put in right field? Would you start the season with Matos or Yastrzemski in right?
Me?
Yeah.
Without hesitation, Matos.
Yeah.
I'd put him in left, and I'd put Ramos in right, I think. I think Ramos has the better arm for right field.
Yeah, he played a little center. Ramos did. Yeah, Lou agrees. Matos. Yeah, you can't forget him. And I think he's having a big winter league. Wasn't he doing a lot in Venezuela?
Yes. I've been clamoring for Matos to play because, look, the philosophy under the old regime was all about matchups and whatever advantage you could get. And there was nothing about, hey, let's just develop our young guys and let them take their hard knocks, but let them get their 400 or 500 at bats and they'll learn and grow from it. No, it was guy player of the week, has a struggle for a week, sent down, never to be seen basically again. And it's like, he just showed you what he has in him.
Yeah.
Let him work it out.
Yeah. Did you see Farhan's interview today? He was kind of explaining all his moves and why people won't come here and blah, blah, blah. He didn't make any really significant trades, no significant signings. Everything was muted. And he took on Will Clark today. He
Yeah,
said,
solid.
Will Clark said, I didn't make the lineup. Well, let's hear from Bob Melvin, okay? I want to hear Bob Melvin. Farhan's gone. He'll probably be a Dodger or something, he'll get somewhere, Atlanta. He's a smart man. But I want to hear Bob Melvin. I want to have someone have Alex, the great Alex Pavlovich, look Bob Melvin in the eye, say, Bob, did Farhan ever bring a lineup down to you? And let's see what Bob says, Farhan, and then we'll
You
settle
know
it.
what I think happened, Marty? I saw Alex interview Bob Melvin at the winter meetings. It was just on the other day on an NBC Sports Bay Area channel. And I listened to Bob Melvin in the winter meetings. There's a different tone in Bob Melvin's voice. He seems energized again, like he's excited about the actually being able to manage. Buster has given him carte blanche. You're the manager. You're in charge of your coaches. You're in charge of whoever you hire. You're in charge of the lineup. You're in charge of. I don't think Farhan actually ever came down and said, "Here's the lineup," but it was implied. These are the guys I want to see in the lineup.
Yeah, and this is where they should bat.
Yeah,
that was even more. But Melvin couldn't take the analytical guy on. He couldn't take Farhan on and everybody else. So Melvin just was a good soldier and played along. But now the gloves are off. And Posey, said, Bill James, I'll see you later. Analytics, we'll catch up with you a little bit later, but get out of the clubhouse. Right. And Melvin feels it. Melvin's feeling good about that.
He does. He
sounds good about it because this is year 2.
Yeah.
And unless they pick up his option, isn't this the deal? Remember, he had 2 with an option.
Correct.
We all thought he had 3.
Right.
Well, he becomes a lame duck manager here, mid-season here. If the team is, 40 and 52, people are going to be talking. So right. Melvin's coming out of here like a free agent. And he's coming out and says, hey, don't give me a lot of make-believes or guys who you think can make it. I want some players. And I'll guarantee you he's talking about it. He's not here to do a tryout camp for kids.
Right.
Believe me.
Right. No, I think Melvin will be pretty excited. And, we talk about the lineup and Farhan. I kid, but it's kind of funny. Gabe Kapler, when he was here, he was out doing food reviews late at night, the game the next day. Well, he didn't have to worry about going to, home and figuring out what he's got to do the next day. It was all done for him.
Yeah, well, he did have to start worrying about it in September when the team quit on him. And I was right there in Arizona. I saw that series. And they just basically said, well, thanks, Gabe. It's been a pleasure. And Farhan had no choice. And if that would have happened in July, Farhan would have been gone that year too. But it happened so quickly. You have to have a plan. And let me tell you, Farhan may not have been gone this year if Posey didn't step up. You think that Greg Johnson wanted to spend the whole winter interviewing general manager candidates and president of baseball operation candidates? Posey saved everybody by saying, I'll do it. And once he said, I'll do it, they said, Farhan, it's been a pleasure.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. Hicks wants to know Hicks in the rotation. Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's a rotation with Ray and Hicks, and there are 5 to 6 inning pitchers, both of them, so be it. They can strike people out. They got good stuff. Don't kill them. Don't try to overwork them. Have that deep bullpen, and absolutely Hicks and Ray, no problem.
Got another one for you. Marty. We love you, Marty. You're a beautiful person. Yes, he is. He's a great man, Marty Lurie.
Yeah, we have fun. Yeah. Look, this is year 30 for me. Can you believe it?
That's awesome. You're 30.
30.
Wow. That's 30. Longer than a lot of the people in this chat have been alive.
Seriously, year 30 doing a pregame show in the Bay Area. I started a little KECG in El Cerrito, 96, 98, KATD, the Cat. I did the pregame show for the A's, leading into their pregame for 20 minutes. It cost me $20 a show to do it, and I got
Wow.
some ads to do it. Then the A's would change stations every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
$20 a show. I was paying $600 a show to go on KFRC. And then in 2009, the A's thing was falling apart, their radio network. And Larry Baer said to me, would you like to come over and do part of our pregame, part of our postgame? Michael Urban is doing some of it, but we want to expand our coverage. And he said, those magic words, are you a free agent? And I said, absolutely. These are all my own shows, the sponsors. In fact, one of our favorites is Rick Robin. And Rye, we got the Rick Robin spot.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a pleasure working with Rick Robin this year. Rick Robin, ROBBEN, NapaConstruction.com. Rick, the last time you were on with us, you told us about kitchen and bath remodeling, but there's a lot more going on up in your area.
Yes, there is. ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units, which are known as granny units. We can do your existing garage, attached garage, even building a new unit in the back. And so what we do is come out, bring our architect out there. Such a great thing. No sewer hookup fees, no water hookup fees. So that's what we do.
Rick, how does one start the process with you? How does one get in touch with you?
Oh, you call Tammy, 707-332-7575, 7 days a week.
Rick Robin, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, the thing I like about this, no problem for me. You come out with the plans, the permits, everything is in-house, no fees, and you get a new unit that you can rent out and get money back on your investment right away. I like it, Rick.
Thanks, Marty. Love talking to you.
Rick Robin, ConstructionNapa.com. It's been a pleasure working.
All right, that's Rick.
All right, I was going to grab that number and put it up there, but I didn't. It went too fast. I heard 707
next week. Yeah, we'll do it next week. But Rick Robin, ROBBEN, he's terrific. Great. So the point is, it's my own show. I'm a free agent. I went over to KMBR, and the rest is history. Giants won, and the show became the post game. I'd be on from 7 p.m. to midnight, and then pregame went to 3 hours, and it's been that way since 2010. And it's changing, things at KMBR are changing, and I'm sure it'll change for me. They cut the shows all the time, which is fine. That's why I like the YouTube alternative to do it. But the fans have been great. But so my point is, 30 years I'm doing this. How about that?
That is awesome. And for 30 years, we have got to give this to you, Marty. The big crowd cheer. That is awesome. 30 years.
Yeah, this is the 30th. 1996. I had never been on a radio before in my life. I just started this.
Yeah. Well,
I
love your intro. Talking baseball.
Yeah. Talking baseball.
Mickey and the Duke.
And we got Ruby Barmay doing the song on YouTube for me. She wrote it. And I don't know. I feel pretty good about this going into next year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So will you be doing most of the pregame on YouTube, or will you be doing it on KMBR still?
Well, there'll be some on KMBR over the weekend, depending on how they want to do it. Mm-hmm. And then this for sure I'm going to do during the week. This for sure, because I really like. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this would be fun for you because you'll be able to not only, when you got to wait for the calls to come in, everybody can participate in the chat.
And it's friends. See, I want to put friends on the air too. I want to do that. And Ryan, can you pick someone out today to put them on? Is that too crazy? See if Ryan can do that.
Pick some. We can spin a wheel. We do a little random spinning wheel, and we could throw put a number on everybody, and somebody could just either Ryan could pick somebody, or we could randomly pick a number, and it's kind of like a lotto.
All right, I'll let you deal with it.
Well, Ryan will have to throw in some names.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, That would be great. Somebody come on Marty's show and get a chance to do a little hosting. Link is in the chat. Lou, you're welcome to join. Okay, so the link is in the chat. If anybody wants to join right now, the link is right there. Just hop on in. As long as your name is not Chardal, everybody can come on in.
Chat room.
Question, are the Giants going to make any changes to the center field wall? That thing is deadly. They need to at least make it regular height like it used to be. Also, maybe replace the chain link with plexiglass. That was my idea on the show last year, guys. I don't know if you heard that, YouTube, but plexiglass for that chain link, because you can get your foot stuck in there and really ruin a career if it get twisted the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm for that. The Orioles did something with their left field wall too.
Yeah,
Did they make it higher? I forgot what they did. They did something.
There's one team had plexiglass, I remember, and I remember when who was it that got hurt? It was Lee, and then Matos got stuck in there too right after that, or it was like within the same week, 2 players. I know Lee, that's how he got his shoulder messed up. He got stuck.
Well,
and
these guys crashing, think back, I mean, me in baseball, but you go back to the late 40s, that wall was cement. Wow. And people went, and Willie Mays never got hurt. He never went into a wall. If you ever watch Willie, he always got there before the ball got there. But Pete Reiser, one of the great players of the 40s, had like 7 concussions, and they would run into the wall like crazy. This is the shoulder is the problem here, because you crash into it at full speed. But the walls are different now.
Took them 20 years to remove the bullpen mounts. Don't hold your breath. Exactly. Hopefully they will who MF who will replace Marty when he leaves? Oh,
Larry.
That's what could be. Could be.
Yeah, I like the Fitzgerald super utility guy. That's why I think keep your mind open on Bregman, the possibility of that, the Kim slap hitter, that guy, the shoulder Kim, something like that could happen. I mean, wouldn't shock me, because at this stage, the contracts are not going to be. Now, Burnes may get good money, but after Burnes, it's over, right? Who's after Burnes? All the big guys.
Money's tightening up. If the prices get lower a little bit more.
Well, Sasaki's only getting regular money. He gets
a little thing on that, Marty. And looking at the international pool money, the Giants only have a little over $4 million. Well, several teams have 7.5. Some have 6, a little over 6. The Dodgers are like 5.1. The Giants are at 4.1. But the Giants have to allocate quite a bit of that to this kid, Josher Gonzalez, the number 1 overall international.
They're not in the mix for this, I don't think. This looks like San Diego, Seattle Dodgers for Sasaki. I think that's where we're going for that. But, Gleyber Torres, no. Polanco, terrible with Seattle. Rogers never made it, really. Merrifield's done. Rogers from Colorado was nothing. Now, I like what they got at second if they can pick up a veteran. I like that. Fitzgerald deserves a shot. He does. And I think he's on the team. It's just a question of how you use him.
Yeah.
But
like I say, I like
my
the
question
idea of
is,
moving him around.
My birthday is February 1st. Will Lamont Wade, whose birthday is January 1st, will Lamont Wade be a Giant on my birthday?
Interesting. They only have so many spots for play first base. You got Flores, you've got Wade, and then you've got guys that can play first, like Fitzgerald's even played there a little bit. But if they're going to, and I think they're going to go with DH by committee this year. So That will be interesting to see. I don't think they're going back to the, hey, we're signing a DH exclusively like they did with Soler. I think the plan is to rotate the DH so guys can have a little bit of a day off here and there. The question, I think, becomes who is the backup infielders? Is it going to be Schmidt, or is it going to be Wisely? Are they going to go with a left-handed bat, or are they going to let
Schmidt?
It should be
too good a glove.
Yeah.
Wisely is an extra guy, but Schmidt should be the guy. Where does Yastrzemski go? I said this when I was on with you the last time. Atlanta, because Atlanta's got Acuna out. They've got all sorts of outfield trouble. They just picked up They just picked up an outfielder, didn't they? De La Cruz, or they picked somebody.
Yeah, they got the kid De La Cruz from Pittsburgh, who was with Miami last year, got traded to Pittsburgh.
But Yastrzemski for Atlanta would be terrific. That to me makes a lot of sense right there. I can see that happening. So, and the other one is Luis Robert. You know, he's never quite made it. You know, he's what we used to call a scout killer. He looks great. He can throw. He can hit with power. He can run. He can do everything in the world. He makes everything look good until you put him in the game. And then he hits 203. He's a scout killer. You know, scouts love him. But that's a guy who's out there. I don't know what the Giants would do with him unless you put him on a corner because you got Luis center, I guess. But Luis Robert, the White Sox have to move him, don't they? They have to.
They definitely do. They're wasting. You know, I did a little talk the other day about a trade of Vladdy, and I brought up how Washington traded Soto with 2.5 years of control, and they got a monster return. They got James Wood and C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore. They also still got Robert Hassel III, who was supposed to be one of the key pieces of that trade. He just hasn't panned out yet. But then when San Diego then traded him with 1 year left, they still got a decent haul back. They got Michael King as the key piece. But Luis Robert, I believe, still has 2 years of control, I believe, with so it's not just, I don't think he's a free agent for 2 more years. So I think you can still get something for him. And the White Sox are not going to, they're not competing for the next 3-4 years. So
they want a crochet type trade where they can get 5 players. Right. And Robert should go. He should go. And boy, can the Giants get in the middle of that? I don't know. Who knows?
Don't be surprised if the Dodgers get in the middle of that if they don't sign Teoscar.
Well, all right. You can see that. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground. Profile, Teoscar, Tyler. We didn't mention O'Neill going to the Orioles. Is that where he went?
Right. Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah. But the inside one for me tonight, Arenado to first. And if it doesn't work, I want Alonso for 2 years. And if that doesn't work, I'll take Goldschmidt.
Okay. All right. So your first baseman is Arenado, Alonso, or Goldschmidt. I wouldn't mind seeing for 1 year. I like he's older, but he's still productive and he won't cost a lot. But Santana doesn't strike out a lot. I want to see somebody that doesn't strike out.
Stop it. He has no on-base percentage and his slugging is down.
But he was better than Goldschmidt last year.
That's true. Everybody was. Goldschmidt is 37, and if you could get 4 months out of him, do it. He wants to play every day. He's what Posey's looking for. He's the guy you want to look in the eye and say, you want to play today? And he says, well, what do you think? You know, that's what Posey wants. So get
if you get Alonso, that would be okay. I mean, he is a guy that does excite the fans. I was at a ball game.
That's part of my 4 things. You got to do that. By the way, did you see the new Willie Mays book?
I did not. Who is it? Who put it out?
The Chronicle.
Is it John Shea again, or?
Well, John did a lot of writing and Jenkins and other people, but Russ Stanley was nice enough to send me a copy. But
Very nice.
the stories are terrific, and the pictures in here. I mean, there are pictures. I just hold it up like that. There are
Wow.
pictures of Willie I had not seen before, and when I can
Wow.
see a picture that I haven't seen before, I'm saying something. So, yeah, the book is out, and Russ was nice enough to send me a copy. So, Russ, thank you.
Very nice.
All right. I see the article about Bomel's lineup strategy, Lamont Bank first. And yeah. Let's see what the lineup is on March 28th.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule. If you looked at the first month or so, it's a pretty daunting schedule. So we'll see what they do when they get out of the gate. It's going to be interesting. One thing we'll have to talk about sometime, Marty, another show, but would love to talk to you about the A's. I think there's going to be an interesting season for the A's because wouldn't shock me if they came close to 500 next year.
Well, they got some hitting. I don't know how that park's going to play. Of course, in the summer, 14,000. Will they get a sellout every game? I don't know. Let's see. It's worth a look. Let's put it that way. And now they got to spend some money, or else they're not going to get the revenue sharing. So
right.
they're this is like the movie Brewster's Millions. Remember that thing?
Yeah, they were in on Freed, I hear, at the end.
Yeah, where they told him, look, you got to spend $5 million within a certain amount of time, or else you lose your inheritance. That's what the A's are doing now. They got to spend it so much. They got to spend $30 million by opening day, or they're going to lose their revenue sharing. They may sign you.
That would be it.
All right. Well, that's good. All right.
Well, we're about ready to get out of here. I was actually going to show you an old yearbook, or not yearbook, but a game day. If I could find it. No, my wife's looking for it. My wife cleaned up the closet, the room the other. Nope, that's not it either. I had a 62 World Series program,
nice.
Giants Yankees.
Nice.
And it was amazing. No,
yeah, my son Aaron sent me this. Did you see this?
Oh yeah, I love that. Sport Magazine. That was amazing.
This was just put out. And it's got a lot of the stories about Willie and all that. This is a good one. Yeah, Aaron sent me that. But the new book is different than what John Shea wrote. It's not the Willie Mays story. It's done by the Chronicle, and it's got really good pictures. All right,
guys. Well, hey, as we end this show, you see up there on the screen, subscribe to Marty Lurie and Friends Talking Ball on YouTube and right here on NorCal Sports Network. Marty and I will be doing this going forward from time to time and bringing you a dual show. So, well, Marty, you have a great holiday.
Well,
really,
let's just hope for a good weekend.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
We're not getting to that stage where I had a guy that told me once, because I've been working with retirees for 25 years, and I worked with guys anywhere 65 all the way up. I've worked with people in their 90s. I had one gentleman say, I don't buy yellow bananas anymore.
We're not.
You know why? He says,
we're not there yet, but
good.
We take it day by day. We're very happy. But everyone enjoy the holiday and be safe. And if there's something happens, you'll be on, I'll be on, and we'll get it done. But I appreciate you having me on this. And Ryan, fabulous job of putting this together to have both channels on. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah, we have over 625 people combined watching right now, the channels on YouTube and on Twitter. So great to see everybody in the house. Make sure you subscribe to Marty's channel, his YouTube channel, Marty Lurie and Friends, and give it a like, this show. Appreciate you being with us. And NorCal Sports Network will be back tomorrow night after the Warriors game. So somewhere around 7:45, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. All right, for Marty Lurie, this is Dan Cochimilio saying so long. Have a great night, everybody.